The ship floated in silence. Leon had seen many wrecks in his time as a salvage pilot, but this one felt different. It wasn't just another broken freighter or abandoned outpost. It was a warship, and not just any warship. This one belonged to a species he didn't recognize. Its blackened hull was covered in markings that looked like both writing and art, twisting shapes etched into metal that once might have gleamed with pride. Now, it drifted cold and dead, a ghost in the void. Leon's small salvage craft, Horizon, approached carefully. He knew the risks. Abandoned warships sometimes carried traps, automated defenses, or even angry survivors. But he also knew what such a find could mean: advanced technology, rare metals, maybe even artifacts that could pay for years of supplies. Still, that wasn't why he was here. The beacon was dotted, had been weak, barely noticeable, a faint distress signal buried in static. Many would have ignored it, but Leon wasn't like most salvagers. He couldn't leave a call for help unanswered, even if it came from something that might not be human. He docked his ship against what remained of the warship's side hatch, attaching a pressure seal. The docking was rough. Most of the ship's docking ports had been ripped apart, but it would hold. All right, he muttered to himself, adjusting his helmet. In and out, check for survivors. No heroics. But his heart was already beating faster. He had been in tight spots before, but this felt different. The moment he stepped inside, the silence hit him. Not just silence, emptiness. The corridors were wide, built for beings taller than humans, with arching ceilings and thick, rib-like supports along the walls. The lights were dead, except for a few flickering panels that glowed a dim orange. The air smelled faintly metallic, like rust and ozone. As he walked, his boots echoed too loudly, making him feel small inside the massive vessel. There were no bodies. That bothered him more than if there had been. He expected to find signs of a crew, but the ship was empty, as if its occupants had simply vanished. After nearly 20 minutes of careful exploration, his scanner finally caught something, a faint life sign. His breath caught. Someone was alive. He followed the signal deeper into the ship, passing through doors that creaked open reluctantly, as though the ship itself didn't want to let him through. Finally, he reached a large chamber, part hangar, part throne room, and there she was. At first, he thought it was a statue. A tall, armored figure stood at the center of the room, encased in black and silver plating. The armor wasn't like any Leon had ever seen, layered plates that seemed to flow like liquid metal, with glowing lines running along the surface. The figure's stance was strange, one knee slightly bent, arms stiff at her sides, head tilted downward as if frozen mid-movement. He stepped closer. It wasn't a statue. It was a person. His scanner confirmed it, a living being inside the suit. Though the readings were faint, whoever or whatever this was, they were still alive, but barely. "Hey," he said softly, even though he knew they probably couldn't understand him. "You're alive. Don't worry, I'll get you out of here." He didn't expect an answer, but then he heard a sound, a faint hum. At first, he thought it was his own equipment, but no, the sound came from her. A weak, broken voice echoed through his helmet comm. "Cannot move." Leon froze. It was her. She was alive, and she was trying to speak to him. He crouched down, looking at the armor's surface. "You're trapped. Can you tell me what happened? Are you hurt?" Her voice came again, clearer this time, though still strained. "Armor locked by enemy. Cannot remove myself." Leon frowned. "Locked like prison armor." There was a pause. Then, slowly, "Yes, cannot fight, cannot live, unless removed." He looked at the strange plating more closely. It didn't look like normal armor. It wasn't simply worn, it was attached, fused to her body in places, like it had grown around her. His stomach twisted. Whoever did this to her hadn't meant for her to walk away. "Okay," he said softly, trying to keep his voice steady. "I'll get you out." Her head twitched slightly, as if she didn't believe him. "You cannot," she said. That almost made him laugh. "You don't know humans very well, do you?" He pulled out his toolkit, scanning the armor's locking mechanisms. The readings made no sense. Alien alloys, living circuits, systems that pulsed faintly like a heartbeat. Removing it wouldn't be easy. One wrong move and he could kill her. But he couldn't leave her like this. Listen, he said, crouching so his helmet met where her eyes should be. I'm not going to leave you here. You understand, whatever this is. I'll figure it out. For a moment, there was silence. Then the faint hum of her voice returned. What? Help me. Leon thought about it for a moment. He could have said because it was the right thing to do, or because he couldn't leave anyone behind, no matter who they were. But instead, he said simply, because you asked. Something in her posture shifted. Almost imperceptibly, he didn't know if it was surprise, disbelief, or hope. He set to work, connecting his tools to the alien armor. The interface resisted him at first, but he kept going, hands steady despite the shaking in his chest. He didn't know who she was, what war she'd fought, or why she'd been left like this. But one thing was clear, she couldn't move, and if she was going to survive, it was up to him. The alien armor resisted him at every turn. Leon had opened many things in his life: rusted cargo containers, sealed vault doors, even a few ancient shipwrecks, but nothing compared to this. The armor wasn't just metal, it was alive. When his tools touched its surface, it pulsed faintly, like it sensed what he was trying to do and didn't like it. Stubborn thing, he muttered. The alien warrior didn't respond. She stood as motionless as before, trapped in her prison-like plating. But Leon knew she was listening. His scanner gave him data that he didn't fully understand: alien symbols, strange readings, heat signatures that flickered like a fading candle. The suit wasn't only keeping her from moving, it was draining her, slowly. He had to work fast. He crouched beside her, adjusting his helmet mic. Can you hear me? A pause. Then her weak, distorted voice returned. Yes, still. Here? Good, he said. I need you to stay awake. If I'm going to help you, I'll need you to tell me if something feels wrong. Understand? Yes, but be careful. Leon smiled slightly behind his helmet. Careful is my specialty. Well, sometimes. He pulled out a portable power unit from his pack and connected it to his tools. Sparks danced as he probed the seams of the armor. Every piece seemed fused, no visible joints or locks. It was like it had wrapped around her completely, becoming a second skin. Can you tell me what this armor actually is? He asked while working. Her voice was faint but steady, created by enemy. To bind us, take our strength, use us. Leon's brow furrowed. So she hadn't chosen this. It wasn't her armor. It was their cage for her. Whoever her enemy was, they didn't just want to defeat her, they wanted to break her. Why would they do that? Because they fear us, she said, her words slow, deliberate, and what we can do when free. That sent a chill through him. Whoever she was, whatever she was capable of, her enemies had gone to incredible lengths to stop her. And somehow, fate had left her here for him to find. He focused on the armor again. After minutes of probing, he found something, a faint energy pattern beneath the plates. It looked like a locking mechanism, but it wasn't mechanical. It was biological. The armor wasn't just attached to her body, it had grown into it. Leon muttered to himself, "This isn't going to be simple. You cannot remove it," she said weakly. He shook his head. "Don't tell me what I can't do. I'll figure it out." There was a faint sound like a soft, breathless chuckle. It startled him. "Did you just laugh?" "Perhaps," she whispered. He grinned despite himself. Even trapped like this, near death, she could still laugh at him. Hours passed. Leon worked in silence, his fingers aching as he used both human and improvised tools to bypass alien locks. He carefully mapped out each plate, each seam, memorizing how the energy patterns shifted when he touched them. Every time he made progress, the armor fought back, shifting slightly, tightening around her. It was as if it didn't want to let go. "Whoever built this really didn't want you getting out," he said. "They wanted me as a weapon," she replied. "Not free, not alive, only controlled. And they left you here? They thought no one could open it. No one like you." Leon paused. Her words echoed in his head. "No one like you. You keep saying that." He said, "Like I'm special. I'm just a salvage pilot." "No," she said. her voice slightly firmer now. You are human. He blinked, and that means, what to you? You adapt. You survive. Others underestimate that. Leon had never thought of himself that way. But hearing it from her, a warrior who had clearly seen far more than him, gave him a strange, quiet sense of pride. Finally, after hours of effort, he found what he was looking for, a release point buried deep beneath the armor at her neck. But it wasn't a simple latch dot, it was a living lock, a complex blend of alien biotech and energy fields. His tools alone couldn't open it. I think I found a way to unlock this, he said. But it's risky. Her head tilted slightly. Risky? How? I don't know what happens when I deactivate this. It might hurt. It might trigger something. But it's the only way. There was silence for a long moment. Then she said, Do it. Are you sure? Yes. Better to die free than live like this. Those words sank deep into him. She wasn't afraid of pain or even death. She just wanted freedom. Leon swallowed hard. All right, here we go. He positioned the power unit against the release point and rerouted energy into his tools. His scanner screamed warnings at him, unstable feedback, dangerous energy levels, but he kept going. The lock glowed faintly, then brighter, until the light filled the room. Suddenly, the ship groaned. Leon froze. What was that? Her voice was strained. The armor is connected to the ship. You have awakened it? Of course I did, he muttered. Why wouldn't I? The walls round them began to hum, lights flickering to life. It was as if the ship itself had woken from its slumber. Stay with me, he said quickly. Don't pass out. Not yet, she whispered. The energy field around the armor shifted. The plates loosened slightly, just enough to give him hope. Then his scanner beeped loudly. Oh no, he muttered. We've got company. Company, your enemies. That beacon I just triggered. It's broadcasting. Her voice grew heavy with dread. Then they are coming. Leon gritted his teeth. He had come here to help one dying alien. Now he might be walking into a trap. But he didn't care. Let them come, he said, tightening his grip on his tools. We're getting you out before they do. For the first time since he found her, the alien warrior's voice held something new, human. She said softly, You do not fear them. Leon smirked. No. I'm too busy fixing your armor to be scared. This time, she really did laugh. It was quiet, weak, but real. And in that moment, Leon decided whatever it took, he was going to free her. No matter who or what was coming. The ship didn't feel dead anymore. The hum of distant engines vibrated through the floor. Lights flickered along the walls, faint at first, then steady, casting long shadows across the chamber. The alien warship was waking up, and Leon had been the one to stir it. He didn't stop working. Every instinct told him to run back to his salvage craft and escape, but he ignored it. He couldn't leave her, not like this. Hold on, he said as his fingers moved quickly across the strange interface of the armor. We're almost there. The alien warrior stood as still as before, but her voice came stronger than before, though still strained. You do not know what you are awakening. Leon gave a short laugh. You said that 3 times. Now, believe me, I know it's bad, but you're not staying in this thing. I don't care if the whole galaxy shows up. There was a pause before she said softly, You speak like my kind. He raised a brow. And your kind is Arsha, she said at last. Her voice carried a kind of pride, even in her weak state. That is my name, Arsha, he repeated. Well, Arsha, I'm Leon. Guess we're stuck with each other. He traced the glowing energy seams on her armor, connecting them with the portable power unit. Slowly, the armor loosened in small sections. He watched as alien script symbols that looked like a mixture of curves and sharp edges lit up across the plates. It's working, he said, almost surprised. Careful, Arsha warned. Some locks are traps made to destroy me if opened wrong. He froze for a second. That's comforting. Anything else I should know before I accidentally set off a self-destruct? There was silence. Did you just not answer me? He said, half nervous, half amused. Perhaps, she admitted. Leon groaned. You aliens really need to work on your sense of reassurance. Suddenly, the ship's hum deepened. He stopped working and looked around. It wasn't just waking up, it was preparing for something. What now? He muttered. Beacon, Arsha said weakly. The armor sends signal. When tampered, my captors will come. Yeah, you mentioned that. Leon said, scanning the room nervously. How fast are we talking? Hours? Minutes? She hesitated. Less. His heart sank. He turned back to the armor. All right, then we're speeding this up. No, Arsha said firmly, surprising him with her sudden strength. No, if you rush, it will kill me. You must follow the sequence. Do not break it. Leon ran a hand over his helmet. Great. So I can either take my time and risk your enemies arriving, or rush and risk killing you. Wonderful choices. You are human. She said softly. You will adapt. He paused. The way she said it wasn't mocking, it was almost trusting. Then adapting is what I'll do, he said. He kept going, moving faster, but careful not to break the sequence. Each time he unlocked a plate, the armor made a low, unsettling sound, like a growl. One by one, the plates on her arms loosened. Her fingers twitched for the first time. You're getting some movement back, he said. Yes, she said, her voice almost relieved. It is working. Leon grinned. Told you I could do it. Then, without warning, a sound cut through the ship, a deep, resonant clang. He froze. That, Arsha said, her voice suddenly sharp. Is them? The sound came again. It wasn't the hum of machinery. It was something boarding the ship. Leon's stomach tightened. How big is this them we're talking about? One ship, two. Not ships. She said. Hunters. That wasn't comforting. Double quotes. Great. So they're not just enemies. They're bounty hunters too. No, she said. Worse. Before he could ask, his wrist scanner pinged. Movement. Multiple life forms coming straight toward their location. Leon swallowed hard. Well, I hope you've got a plan, because mine currently involves panicking. You must finish unlocking me, Arsha said. It is the only way. He gestured at the corridor. In case you haven't noticed, we've got incoming. Big, scary incoming. They will kill you, she said coldly. Leon paused. Wow, that's motivational. They will kill you, she repeated. Unless I'm free. Then we fight. That gave him pause. He didn't know what she really was or what she could do, but something in her voice, calm, certain, made him believe her. Fine, he said, crouching down to access the next lock. But if I die doing this, I'm going to be really annoyed. Her voice softened. You will not die. Not while I live. Leon didn't answer, but he worked faster. The footsteps were getting closer. Clang, clang, clang. Leon glanced toward the entrance. They sound heavy. They are, Arsha said. They are made to hunt my kind. And now, you. Lucky me. Leon muttered. The last lock was at the center of her chest, glowing faintly. His scanner warned him of high energy levels. He sighed. This is probably the one that sets off the big boom, isn't it? Yes, Arsha said simply. Great. He steadied his hands. All right, no pressure. Just disabling an alien lock that could kill both of us. While scary hunters stomped their way over here, the footsteps grew louder. Closer. Then dashed silence. Leon froze. The hallway was quiet. Too quiet. He slowly turned his head toward the door. Why? Did they stop? He whispered. They are watching, Arsha said. Watching? From where? Everywhere, she replied. That did not make him feel better. He forced himself to focus. He rerouted the portable power unit into the chest lock, overriding its sequence. Sparks flew. The glowing lock flickered, then slowly dimmed. The armor hissed, releasing air as the chest plate loosened. Leon exhaled shakily. Got it. But before he could celebrate, a deep, guttural sound echoed from the hallway, a growl. And then, slowly, a shape emerged from the shadows. Leon's breath caught. It wasn't human. It wasn't like Arsha. Either. It was taller than Arsha, with long limbs and armor that looked grown rather than built, jagged like living stone. Its glowing red eyes fixed on him as it crouched low, ready to strike. Hunter, Arsha said simply. Leon's heart pounded. That's a big hunter. It is only one, she said. More will follow. More. Leon yelped, You must finish. Now, the creature hissed, stepping closer. Leon looked from it to Arsha, then back again. This was supposed to be a simple salvage run, he muttered. But he didn't run. He planted his tools back on the armor, hands shaking but determined. All right, Arsha, let's get you out of this thing. And for the first time, she said his name, Leon. She whispered. He looked up. When I am free, do not be afraid. He didn't know what she meant. But before he could ask, the hunter roared, and the last lock clicked open. The final lock released with a hiss. Leon stepped back as the armor split at the seams. Thin streams of steam hissing out like the suit itself was sighing in defeat. The plates began sliding apart, one by one, peeling back from Arsha's body. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the armor fell away completely. Clattering to the floor with a heavy metallic thud, Arsha collapsed forward. Catching herself on her knees, Leon rushed toward her. Hey, don't you dare pass out now. But before he could reach her, she moved. Slowly, painfully, she rose to her feet. Leon froze. Without the armor, she looked different. Her tall frame was covered in faint, glowing lines that pulsed with a soft blue light. Running along her arms, her shoulders, and up to her face, her skin was a deep gray, almost metallic, yet alive. Her eyes, once dull and hidden behind the helmet, now burned with a radiant gold glow, even weak. She stood taller than him, her presence filling the room like a sudden storm. Leon felt his throat tighten. He had seen aliens before, most traders and scavengers, but nothing like this. You're not what I expected, he said quietly. She looked at him, her golden eyes sharp. And what did you expect? Human. He opened his mouth, then closed it, less terrifying, maybe. Her lips curled in the faintest hint of a smile. Good, then they will fear me too. The growl came again. Leon turned toward the doorway, his heart hammering. The hunter was still there, crouched low, staring at them. But now, it didn't move. It watched Arsha. And Leon realized something. It wasn't looking at her like prey. It was looking at her like she was dangerous. Arsha straightened fully. Rolling her shoulders as if shaking off years of weight, she clenched her fists, and the glowing lines across her body flared brighter. The hunter hissed, stepping back slightly. Leon blinked. Wait, it's scared of you? They should be, Arsha said. Her voice was different now, stronger, sharper. The hunter lunged. It moved fast, faster than anything Leon had ever seen. Its claws slicing through the air where Arsha stood. But she wasn't there anymore. She moved, not fast like a person running, fast like a blur of light. 1 second she was in front of Leon. The next, she was behind the hunter. Leon barely registered the motion before he heard the crack, bone or metal. He couldn't tell, and the hunter crumpled to the floor, unmoving. Arsha didn't even look back at it. Leon stood frozen, mouth open. What was that? He stammered. She turned her glowing gaze toward him. Strength. That is what they feared. He swallowed hard. Yeah, I can see why. The silence didn't last long. The ship's quarter echoed with more sounds, heavy, synchronized footsteps. Leon's scanner pinged again. More hunters. Many more. He cursed under his breath. How many of these things are coming? Enough, Arsha said simply. Enough to do what? Enough to kill us both. That was not the answer he wanted. Leon grabbed his salvager's pistol from his belt and checked the charge. It wasn't much more of a tool than a real weapon, but it made him feel slightly better. Arsha glanced at it. That will not stop them. Yeah, well, it'll make me feel better. She tilted her head. Then hold it, but stay behind me. I wasn't planning on doing anything else, Leon muttered. The hallway darkened. Then they came. Dozens of them. Tall, armored figures with glowing red eyes, claws dragging against the walls. They moved in perfect unison, their growls echoing like a chorus of monsters. They stopped at the end of the corridor, watching, waiting. Leon tightened his grip on his pistol. Soba, do we talk to them, or? They did not talk, Arsha said coldly. Great, love that. Then, without warning, The hunters roared and charged. Leon flinched, raising his pistol. But Arsha didn't move, not until they were almost on them. Then she did. It wasn't a fight, it was a storm. Arsha moved like nothing Leon had ever seen, spinning, striking, dodging with an unnatural grace. Her glowing hands cut through hunter armor like it was paper. Every movement was precise, every strike deliberate. Hunters fell one after another, their bodies hitting the ground with sickening thuds. Leon stayed back, firing his pistol at any hunter that got too close, but his shots barely slowed them. Arsha was doing all the real work, and for the first time, he realized she wasn't just strong. She was made for this. Even as more hunters poured in, she didn't slow. But Leon noticed something. The glowing lines on her body were flickering. "Arsha," he shouted, "you're losing power." She didn't answer, tearing through another hunter. Leon cursed. Whatever energy she had regained from being freed, it was burning fast. And there were still too many. "Leon." Her voice cut through the chaos. He flinched. "Yeah, your ship. Where is it?" "Mine." "Oh, right. Dock to levels down. Then run." He blinked. "Run. Go. I'm not leaving you here." She turned, her glowing eyes locking on him. "If you stay, you die. If you go, you live. Go." Leon hesitated. He didn't want to leave her. But she wasn't asking, she was ordering. And deep down, he knew she was right. He bolted. The ship shook as he ran. The sounds of Arsha's battle echoing behind him, roars, crashes, and the unsettling sound of armor breaking. He didn't look back, not because he didn't care, because if he did, he wouldn't keep running. When he reached the docking bay, his salvager's craft sat waiting. He stopped at the ramp, breathing hard, looking back down the hallway. She wasn't there, but the growls were getting closer. He gritted his teeth. He couldn't just leave her. She had trusted him, saved him, and now she was still fighting for him. He turned back toward the corridor. "No," he muttered, "I'm not leaving you." And with that, Leon sprinted back into the chaos. Leon's boots pounded against the metal floor as he sprinted back toward the fight. His lungs burned, but his mind was sharper than ever. "This is stupid," he muttered to himself. "This is beyond stupid. You're running back into the thing you ran away from." But he didn't slow down. He couldn't leave her, not after everything. The closer he got, the more the sounds of battle grew, metal clashing, bone-cracking thuds, and the alien roars of the hunters. Then, a different sound. A sharp, pain cry. "ARSHA." Leon single quotes as stomach dropped. "No, no, no," he whispered, pushing himself faster. When he reached the chamber, his heart nearly stopped. Arsha was still standing, but barely. Her glowing lines were flickering like dying embers. Her strikes were slower now, her movements more labored. And the hunters knew it. They circled her like predators sensing a wounded beast. One lunged, clawing across her shoulder, leaving a deep gash that made her stagger. She didn't scream. She didn't retreat. But Leon could see it. She was running out of strength. "Hey!" Leon shouted without thinking. Every hunter in the room turned toward him. He froze. Oh, that was dumb, but it was enough. Arsha used the distraction to strike, spinning and knocking the hunters aside with a burst of energy that shook the floor. She glanced at Leon, her golden eyes fierce. "Why are you here? You think I'd just run?" He shouted back. "Yes," she barked. "That is the smart choice." "Well, lucky for you, I'm not smart." He raised his salvager's pistol and fired at the nearest hunter. The blast barely staggered it, but it got their attention. The hunters roared, several breaking away from Arsha and charging at him. Leon's eyes went wide. "Okay? That was also dumb." "Move," Arsha shouted. He dove behind a fallen piece of alien armor just as a hunter's claws tore into where he'd been standing. Arsha moved between him and the hunters, striking with renewed ferocity. But it wasn't enough. For every hunter she knocked down, two more pressed forward. Leon crouched behind cover, hard hammering. He couldn't fight them. His pistol was useless against these things. He needed another plan. His eyes darted around the room. And then he saw it, the console. It was embedded in the wall, an alien control station covered in glowing symbols. When he had first Seen it. He ignored it. Now, he didn't have that luxury. Leon, Arsha called out, her voice strained. Stay down. Yeah, about that, he said, already running toward the console. Human, trust me. He skidded to the console and stared at the controls. They were completely alien, filled with symbols he couldn't read. He swallowed. All right, let's see if this ship still likes me. He pressed one of the symbols at random. The lights in the room flickered. The hunters paused for a brief moment, then kept advancing. Wrong button, Leon muttered. Arsha's voice cut through the chaos. The center, blue glyph top row. Leon blinked. You could have said that earlier. I was busy, she snapped. Kicking a hunter back with a burst of force, he slammed his hand on the glowing blue glyph. The ship reacted instantly. The floor beneath them trembled as a deep hum filled the chamber louder than before. Like the entire ship was coming alive. The walls shifted, alien panels sliding open to reveal strange conduits glowing with the same energy that pulsed through ARSHA. The hunters froze, their red eyes darting around warily. Leon grinned. Oh, I think I made them nervous. Arsha stumbled, nearly falling. Leon rushed to her side, catching her. Don't touch me, she growled, though her voice lacked its usual bite. You're welcome, he said, helping her stay upright. She glanced at the glowing conduits, her expression unreadable. You woke it. Woke what? This ship, she said. It is not only a vessel. It is alive. Before Leon could respond, the conduits flared brighter, and the hum grew into a steady, throbbing rhythm like a heartbeat. The hunters roared in unison, their movements becoming frantic. They fear it, Arsha said quietly. Good, Leon said. Maybe it'll eat them. Her golden eyes locked on him. No, it listens to the one who awakens it. Leon blinked. Wait, you mean me? Yes. He stared at the console. Oh, that's bad. The hunters charged, but the ship reacted before they reached them. The conduits on the walls released bursts of energy, striking the nearest hunters with blinding arcs of light. They screamed, their armor cracking under the force before collapsing. In smoldering heaps, Leon flinched. Did I just do that? Yes, Arsha said, her voice quiet but steady. You are its master now. Me. There's no time for questions, she said sharply. Use it. Leon turned back to the console, pressing more symbols at random. Each one triggered a different reaction energy blast from the walls, shifting barriers that cut off groups of hunters, and even gravity pulses that slammed them against the floor. The tide was turning. For the first time since it started, the hunters weren't winning. Arsha stood straighter, her glowing lines flickering, back to life as the ship's energy seemed to flow into her. She clenched her fists. Now, we end this, Leon smirked. Yeah, let's end it. What happened next barely felt real. Arsha moved like lightning, cutting through the hunters with renewed power. Each strike amplified by the ship's energy. The conduits blasted. The one she missed, while the shifting walls trapped others like prey in a cage. Leon stayed at the console, pressing symbols and shouting whenever something worked, and slowly, the room fell silent. The last hunter dropped to the floor, smoking and still. Leon collapsed against the console, breathing hard. Arsha stood in the center of the room, her chest rising and falling, her glowing lines now steady and strong. She turned to him. You did well, she said simply. Leon managed a weak laugh. Yeah, I'm full of surprises. For a moment, there was silence. Then Leon finally asked the question that had been burning in his mind since the fight began. Arsha, what are you? She didn't answer right away. Instead, she walked toward him, her golden eyes fixed on his. I am, she said at last, the last of my kind. And now, so are you? Leon blinked. Wait, what does that mean? She didn't answer. Not yet, but he had a feeling the next answer would change everything. The silence in the chamber was heavy. The hunters lay motionless on the floor, their red eyes dimmed to nothing. The conduits in the walls still glowed softly, and the strange hum of the ship pulsed like a living heartbeat. Leon leaned against the console, trying to catch his breath. He wanted to feel relieved. They were alive. The hunters were dead. But the way Arsha stood there calm, Almost Salam made his relief short-lived. Okay, he said finally, still panting. Now, you're going to tell me what's going on. Arsha didn't look at him. She stepped toward one of the conduits, placing her hand against it. The blue light pulsed brighter under her touch, as though the ship itself recognized her. You asked the question, she said quietly, but you do not understand how deep the answer goes. Then make me understand, Leon said, because right now, I don't know why I nearly got ripped apart by those things, or why this ship listens to me, or why you glow like a broken power conduit. Her golden eyes turned toward him. You want answers? Then listen. She walked back toward him, her steps slow and deliberate. My people, she began, were called the Sarian. Long ago, before your kind reached even the edges of the stars, we ruled entire systems. We were warriors, builders, guardians. Guardians of what? Leon asked. She paused. Of life itself. That wasn't the answer he expected. Life, yes. She said simply, we believed the stars were not only for the strong, but for all who could survive beneath them. We protected those too weak to protect themselves. It was our duty. Leon crossed his arms. And I'm guessing the hunters weren't big fans of that idea. Her expression hardened. The hunters were made to destroy us. They were not born. They were created by those who feared us, those who wanted the stars for themselves. They unleashed the hunters on our worlds, and one by one, my people fell. Leon swallowed. So that's why they're after you. You're the last Sarian? Yes, she turned back toward the fallen hunters. For years, I fought them, alone. My armor was my prison, but also my shield. It kept me alive, even as it drained my strength. But I could not fight forever. When I crashed here, I thought perhaps it was finally over. Leon frowned. But then I came along and ruined your peaceful last moments. You're welcome. Her lips curved in the faintest trace of a smile. You woke me. And more importantly, you woke this. She gestured to the glowing conduits, the living ship around them. Yeah, about that, Leon said. Why does this thing even listen to me? Shouldn't it be listening to you? It did, she said. Once. But the Sarians build their ships to choose their own bond. They are living vessels, connected to the will of their pilot. They do not obey by bloodline or title. They obey by choice, and it shows me, yes, Leon blinked. That doesn't make any sense. I'm just some scavenger. You're a superpowered alien warrior. Why wouldn't it choose you? Arsha's golden eyes met his. Because you freed me when you did not have to. You faced death to help someone you did not know. You acted not for gain, but for what you believed was right. That is what it senses. That is what it chooses. Leon stared at her. You're saying this ship bonded with me because I'm a decent person. She nodded. That's stupid. That is why it works. He looked around at the walls of the ship, the glowing conduits that seemed to thrum in response to his presence. He wasn't sure if he liked the idea of being bonded to a living alien warship, but at least now it made a little more sense. So, what now? He asked. We killed a bunch of these things, but I doubt that's all of them. No, she said. It is not. How many more are coming? She hesitated. Thousands. His stomach dropped. Thousands. Yes. Well, that's not survivable. It wasn't meant to be, Arsha said calmly. Leon stared at her. You're awfully calm for someone who just told me we're about to be overrun by thousands of monsters. Because I have accepted it, she said. But you, human, you still have a choice. He blinked. A choice? What choice? She gestured toward the console. The ship chose you. That means it will obey you. You can leave. Take this vessel. Escape before the hunters surround us. Leon's chest tightened. Wait, you mean leave you behind? Yes. He shook his head. No, not happening. Do not be foolish. She said sharply, my battle is done. But you, your people, still have a future. Do not throw it away for me. Yeah? No, sorry. I don't do the whole abandon the person who saved my life thing. Her golden eyes softened. You do not understand. If you stay, you will die. Leon pointed at the walls. Then we make sure I don't. This ship blasted through them like paper. We can fight. Her expression darkened. Fight against thousands, even with this ship. it will not be enough. Then we make it enough. She tilted her head. You are either very brave or very foolish. Why not both? He said with a tired grin. For a moment, she said nothing. Then, slowly, she nodded. Very well. Then we fight. Leon turned back to the console, staring at the glowing symbols. Okay, I have no idea how to use this thing, but if it listens to me, maybe I don't need to. The ship seemed to hum louder, as if it understood his words. Arsha placed a hand on his shoulder. You do not need to know. You only need to command. It will do the rest. He took a deep breath. Then let's give it a command. The ship responded before he even spoke. The conduits glowed brighter, and panels in the walls shifted to reveal weapons long, elegant cannons that pulsed with blue energy. Arsha's eyes widened slightly. It remembers its purpose. What's that? She looked at him. War. The floor shook violently. Leon glanced at her. Please tell me that's just the ship warming up. No, she said quietly. They are here. The hum of the ship grew louder, sharper, no longer a heartbeat, but a war drum. Leon tightened his grip on the console. Then let's show them what happens when they pick a fight with the wrong scavenger. Arsha's golden eyes gleamed. In the wrong. Sarian. The walls lit up. The ship was awake. And for the first time, Leon felt like they had a chance. The hum of the ship deepened, shaking the walls with its power. Leon stood at the console, staring at the glowing symbols. His hands hovered above them, unsure what to press. But something inside told him he didn't need to press anything. He just needed to will it. Arsha stood beside him, her armor fully lit, golden lines blazing like fire through her dark plating. They are coming, she said, her voice calm but steady. How many? He asked. Her golden eyes closed for a moment, as if listening to something only she could hear. Thousands, and more will follow. Leon swallowed hard. Great, no pressure. The ship reacted before either of them moved. The floor beneath them shifted slightly, adjusting as if bracing itself. The conduits on the walls glowed brighter, and the cannons that had emerged earlier began to hum with lethal energy. Leon grinned nervously. I don't know if I'm ready for this. Arsha placed a hand on his shoulder. You are. How do you know that? Because the ship knows. He took a deep breath. All right then, let's do this. The first wave came fast. The chamber doors shattered as dozens of hunters flooded in, their claws scraping against the floor, their red eyes locked on their prey. But the ship was faster. Panels in the ceiling opened, releasing arcs of searing blue energy that tore through the first wave, vaporizing them before they could even take 3 steps. Leon flinched. Okay, that was awesome. The hunters didn't stop. More pushed forward, climbing over the smoking remains of their fallen. Arsha stepped forward, her body glowing brighter as she channeled the ship's power. Hold them off, she said. I will thin their numbers. Wait, what do you mean? Hold them off. But she was already moving. Arsha charged into the swarm like a living blade of light. She struck with such speed that Leon's eyes could barely follow her. Every hit sent shockwaves through the ground, hunters flying back in pieces. Her movements were precise, efficient. Every strike meant to kill. The hunters swarmed her, trying to drag her down. They didn't stand a chance. Leon turned back to the console. He didn't know how he knew which symbols to press, but his hands moved like instinct. He imagined walls rising to block the hunters, and they did. Metal barriers shot up from the floor, cutting off groups of enemies. He thought about crushing them, and the gravity shifted, slamming them into the ground with bone-shattering force. The ship wasn't just obeying him. It was listening to his thoughts. This is incredible, he whispered. More hunters poured in. Leon grit his teeth. Okay, let's turn this up. The cannons along the walls pivoted, targeting the densest groups of hunters. A thought, and they fired, sending blasts of blue energy that tore through the enemy like paper. He couldn't help but laugh. Oh, I could get used to this. But for everyone they killed, more appeared. Arsha? Leon called out. She slammed a hunter into the ground and crushed its head beneath her heel. Yes? They're not slowing down. They won't. They're endless, not helping. The wall shook violently. A massive shadow filled the doorway, and then it stepped in. The largest hunter Leon had ever seen, at least 3 times the size of the others, with black armor so thick it looked like living stone. Its red eyes burned like fire as it let out a roar that rattled the walls. "Oh, great," Leon muttered. "They brought the boss." Arsha turned to face it. "This one is a commander. It will not fall easily." "Yeah," Leon said. "I figured that out when it ducked to fit through the door." The giant hunter charged. The floor cracked beneath its weight as it barreled toward them like a living tank. Leon panicked. Ship, big gun. Big gun now." The ship obeyed. One of the ceiling panels opened to reveal a massive cannon that glowed with blinding energy. It fired, a beam of blue light so intense it lit the entire room. The blast hit the giant hunter dead center and barely staggered it. Leon's jaw dropped. "You've got to be kidding me." The creature swung its massive arm, smashing through one of the barriers like it was paper. Arsha met its charge head-on. Her body glowing brighter than ever, she leapt, striking its chest with a burst of energy that cracked its armor. The creature roared, backhanding her across the room. "Arsha!" Leon shouted. She slammed into a wall, but pushed herself back up, shaking off the hit. "I'm fine." "Keep firing." Leon gritted his teeth. Fine. If the big gun didn't work, maybe all the guns would. He focused on every weapon in the chamber fired at once. Cannons, conduits, hidden panels releasing bursts of energy. Every piece of the ship's arsenal turned on the commander. The air burned with heat and light as the onslaught continued. When the smoke cleared, the commander was still standing, but barely. Its armor was cracked, black blood leaking from its wounds. "Arsha," Leon shouted. "Finish it." She didn't hesitate. She sprinted forward, her body blazing like a star. She leapt, striking the creature's head with a final, devastating blow that echoed through the chamber. The commander staggered, then fell, crashing to the ground with a thunderous boom. The remaining hunters froze, and then, as if sensing their leader's death, they began to retreat. Silence. The hum of the ship softened. The conduits dimmed slightly. The battle was over. Leon leaned against the console, his whole body trembling. We did it." Arsha walked toward him, her glowing lines flickering but steady. "You commanded well." He laughed weakly. "I just pushed buttons and hoped for the best. And yet," she said, "you lived for a moment." They stood there in silence. Then Leon asked, "So, is that it? Are we safe now?" Arsha's golden eyes met his. "No, they will come again, and they will not stop." Leon sighed. "Figures." "But," she added, "now we are ready." He raised an eyebrow. "Ready for what?" She placed her hand on the console. "War." The ship seemed to agree. The hum grew louder again, steady and strong. Leon felt it not just in the floor, but inside himself. The bond was complete. This wasn't just a ship anymore. It was his. And for the first time, he didn't feel like a scavenger. He felt like a soldier. He turned to Arsha, grinning despite himself. "All right, if they want a war, let's give them one." Her golden eyes gleamed. "Then let us begin." The ship's lights flared. The war drums beat louder, and the stars themselves seemed to tremble.